Hey, what's up you guys? Today I'm going to be continuing my 2016 reading wrap-up with books 26 through 30. So if you've missed any of the other parts, you can go and check those out if you want to, but you don't have to see them before watching this one. This one is going to have all the novels that I read for Rainbowthon, which happened February 7th to February 14th. So let's just get started. The first book that I read for Rainbowthon ended up being Moon Rising by T. Sutherland. This is the 6th book in the Wings of Fire series, but this is kind of the continuation of the original series. The original series ends at book 5, and then a new set of characters are introduced and it follows them. So this one follows a dragon named Moon, who is a Nightwing. Basically, Nightwings are these black dragons that are thought to have some mystical powers, like being able to predict the future and read people's thoughts. Read dragons' thoughts, there we go, because all the characters in these books are dragons. There are humans, they're called scavengers, but they're not considered intelligent, and the first scavenger you meet in the first book ends up getting its head ripped off, so I wouldn't say humans are really a big part of this series. It's mainly just dragons. This one, I don't want to talk about it too much because it would be a spoiler for the rest of the books, the first 5, which I really love. I love that series. It's one of my favorite middle grade series. But know that I really did like this one. I ended up giving it 4 stars because I think it sets up a lot of stuff. I thought that there was a lot of dragons introduced, so I was kind of having to keep track of how the dragons were related to each other. There's like a big list at the beginning of the book. Let me find it. Okay, so like there's a big list of all the dragons that are introduced, and those are dragons that you've sometimes met before in the first 5 books, but a lot of them you haven't met before, so it was just kind of a little bit confusing. And then if you want to know what the map looks like, it's in the shape of a dragon, which was really cool. I love that. I think it's hilarious. But yes, 4 stars out of 5 stars. I really love Wings of Fire. I'm super excited to read the next book because I already own it, and I think that the 8th book just came out, so I just need to catch up with the series because I love it so much. The second book I read for Rainbowthon is going to be Inside the OBriens by Lisa Genova. I kind of read this one at the same time as the Moon Rising, but I usually read one adult book and one middle grade book at the same time because they kind of counteract each other. Like one I make a lot of progress fast in, which is middle grade, and then adult books are a little bit slower for me, but I loved this book. I ended up giving this one 4 stars out of 5 stars as well. It follows a guy named Joe O'Brien, and he is diagnosed with Huntington's disease. If you guys don't know, Huntington's disease is a genetic neurological degenerative disease. So basically one of your parents has to have the disease in order for you to get it because it's autosomal dominant. So that means that if you inherit the trait, you get the disease no matter what. And the way that it's determined is a certain repeats within a certain gene. And so if you have over 36 repeats, 36 or above, you get Huntington's. And if you have below that, you don't get it. I think most people have like 20 something repeats. I think that's like the normal amount, but I'm not exactly sure on that. So basically, Joe finds out that he's got Huntington's because he's starting to slur his words. He's really moody and irritable. All of a sudden, like it wasn't like he used to be like that. He's starting to drop things, become more clumsy, fall over, stuff like that. There's a whole list of the symptoms that people have in the beginning of the book, and I didn't know this, but one of my dad and mom's friends has actually got Huntington's, and he ended up committing suicide, I think, because apparently when people find out they have Huntington's, a lot of people just end up killing themselves because there is no cure, and there's only treatment for symptoms, and even that there's not that much, and so it just, you know, it's a death sentence, and so they know they're gonna die within what, 10 to 20 years or something like that after the symptoms start showing. So it's like a really heavy thing to be told exactly how and when you're gonna die, and it's not a very painless process. Like people that get it end up dying, like they get really skinny because they have like uncontrollable movements, and so they burn a lot of calories, and so they don't eat enough and they get skinny, and it's just not a good disease to have. I thought this book did a really good job of portraying the entire picture of Huntington's. You don't just follow Joe, you follow Joe and also one of his children named Katie, his youngest daughter. He has 4 children, and so because Joe ends up having the disease, all of his kids have 50-50 chance of having it as well, and so you kind of follow the entire family as the kids start to decide if they want to know if they're going to have Huntington's or not, and the repercussions of knowing it as well as not knowing it, so not getting tested. They have to live with, do I have it, do I not have it, how do I plan for my life if I don't know if I'm going to get this disease or not. There's like so many questions that these people have to go through, and so much heartbreak. It was heartbreaking. It was really awful. I think this story does a really good job of having those really intense, really upsetting moments, but also keeping it a little bit lighter. So like there were some jokes. The characters in this book are really funny, and so they have a really good way of going about dealing with the disease. And I think what I said before, it just does a really good job of having the entire story, because you see through both Joe and Katie's eyes. And so Katie is seeing her father deteriorate throughout the novel, and you see Joe having a hard time mentally dealing with all of the symptoms and trying to appear normal. So I don't know, it's just, I really did really enjoy it, and I gave it 4 stars because I don't think it hit me as hard as I thought it was going to. I mean, I did get upset while reading it, but I thought it was going to be really upsetting, which I was kind of like signed up for. So when it didn't happen, it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. But if you're curious about learning a little bit more about Huntington's, or you have known someone that's gotten Huntington's but you haven't experienced it firsthand yourself, I think this book would be amazing for you. And I also liked the afterword, where she talks about the different people that she talked to learn about the disease. She talks about the different families, and some of them had passed away before this book was published. So I really liked reading all that, and I think I'm gonna want to read Still Alice soon. It's her other book, it's her main popular book. I think it was her debut was Still Alice, and that is a book about a woman who gets Alzheimer's, and so you have to follow her as she slowly forgets everything about her life. So I'm gonna end up rereading it at some point because I think that I might like it a little bit more the second time around. I really recommend this one if you have been considering it at all. I really think that it did a really good job. The next book I read during Rainbowthon is going to be Fairy Tale Volume 12. This is the ending of this story arc that I'm currently reading. In Volume 10, a story arc started where it kind of follows Urza before she joined Fairy Tale, and so this one finishes it up, and I thought it could have ended a little bit better. Urza kind of changed a lot in this book, so I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars because I really like how it ended and I like the messages that it had, but I thought it could have done it a little bit better, if that makes sense. So I really did love it, but I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. So this is what some of the artwork looks like. I just really enjoy this series, and I think it's one of those series that is awesome for people that are just now getting into manga, because this is the first manga that I've ever read and I have been really enjoying it. But a lot of people that have read a lot of manga, it's not their favorite. A lot of people end up dropping the series because it's not anything special to them or something like that. But I love it. I love the anime. So yeah, I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5 stars. The next book I read during Rainbowthon is going to be The Wicked and the Divine Volume 2, which is called Fandemonium. Oh my gosh, this was amazing. I loved it. People don't really like Wicked and Divine because they think it's confusing, but I disagree. I didn't find it confusing at all. So every 90 years, 12 gods are kind of awakened in people, like young people, like ages 15 to 25, something around there. So I just really love seeing all the gods, and if you want to see some of the artwork here, this is kind of what the artwork looks like. So it's awesome, and the way that this one ended, oh my gosh. I ordered the third one already. Hopefully it gets to me soon, but I loved it. I gave it 5 stars out of 5 stars. I just love this series so far, and I really hope that it continues for a long time because I love it so much. I love it, love it, love it. The last novel that I read for Rainbowthon, because I kind of gave up after this, was the Runaway King, which is the second book in the Ascendance trilogy. Did I get that right? Yeah, by Jennifer A. Nielsen. This, I can't really talk about anything to do with the plot because it would spoil the first book, because the first book is kind of, it could have been a standalone almost. In the first book, there is this guy, his last name is Connor, and he is trying to create a false prince. Someone that could pass for this prince that's been missing, kind of like an Anastasia thing, where a lot of people before used to try to claim that they were Anastasia. Something similar to that, and so they're trying to find someone that can be Prince Jaren. The main character in the beginning of the first book is living in an orphanage, and this guy, Connor, comes and gets him and tries to start training all of these boys to be able to pass for Jaren. And if you win, you get to become the king, and if you don't win, I think they kill you. So yeah, it's pretty intense, and most people don't really know what's going on with that book. Like, most people get surprised by things that happen along the way. I kind of predict them because I read middle grade like all the time, but I was really excited to see how the story was going to continue, and I really did like this one. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars out of 5 stars. No, I ended up giving this book 5 stars out of 5 stars, I remember now, because it was so great. I love how everything came together. It made me mad, it made me sad, it made me happy. So I had all the emotions, and I really did enjoy it, and I ended up giving it 5 stars. I really recommend this series a lot, especially for people that don't read as much middle grade, because everything is going to be just so fantastic for you. It's like, I'm a little bit jealous that I read a lot of middle grade, because the first book could have been so amazing if I had not predicted everything. So yeah, 5 stars. Read this series. Done. Alright, so those are books 26 through 30 that I read in 2016. Let me know down in the comments what you've been reading, or if you have any suggestions for things that I should be reading, or if you know the books that I haven't read that are still on my shelves and you want me to read something, let me know that as well as if you want any individual reviews, some more in-depth reviews for any of the books that I've talked about, let me know, because I haven't been doing individual reviews because I've just kind of gotten behind on making just these wrap-ups. So if you guys want any individual reviews, let me know down in the comments and I can do that for you. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.